Um, I'll just jump straight into the questions. Have you been diagnosed with or do you suspect you have any mental conditions? Are you in a different mood than usual? And is there anything else a typist should know about your current state?
Uh, no, not necessarily. I haven't been diagnosed formally with anything. I have like sought out treatment for like anxiety, things of this nature, but nothing so pervasive that I necessarily feel like I need to be medicated or like just to put on disability or anything. And then yeah, my state is pretty normal. Uh, a little nervous, yeah, a little nervous. Just yeah, that's right.
Okay. What do you look for in friendships? What do you typically talk about or do with your friends?
Necessarily. Um, well, like as far as making, I'm not the best or at most adept at making friends, but usually people come up to me and just start talking to me, and then there's some sort of through the conversation like common interests are established, and uh, it's usually up to them if they want to like keep that connection or like continuously talk to me because like I'm not necessarily that adept at reaching out to people. Something I struggle with just because like I don't necessarily know if people uh, value what I have to say or things of this nature. But like when I'm looking for a friend, it's just someone that I can talk to. It's pretty easygoing, just common interests. But as of late, I haven't really been looking for friendships, mostly because I'm more so focused on like future, like my future, and trying to put myself in the best position possible to succeed at the moment, right? And sometimes I feel like friendships are a little bit of a distraction.
I
Of course,
see.
like yeah, yeah.
Have you
That's
always been, well, you sort of answered that. Okay.
mm.
Do you work or study? If so, where do you work or what do you study?
Oh yeah, yeah. I study psychology. I like focus like in experimental psychology. Uh, I work currently like 'cause I'm not necessarily in school or studying right now during the summer, but I work at a factory called Amazon, like Amazon. It's a factory. I work there like 3 days a week, like 12 hours.
Hmm. How's that?
Hmm. Oh, it's all right as far as jobs go. There's a lot of people that go to like the same university as me that work there. Um, it's all right. I'm in a decent position where I'm able to like listen to music or listen to headphones or like listen to audiobooks or what do you call it, podcasts and things. So like for the most part, for like the 12 hours, I just kind of like either listen to music or just listen to lectures and podcasts. So I kind of try to make like use out of that time. So and then I get paid for it, obviously after week. So it's beneficial overall. But yeah.
Okay. What are your main hobbies or interests? What do you like about them?
Okay. Um. Uh. Main hobbies. Obviously typology. Um. Which is like more of an extenuation from psychology, obviously, as like a field of study. Uh, like I study it for university, but it's also sort of a hobby, something I looked into in my own time and just research, uh, just to build up a wealth of knowledge in the field. Um, so I like, what do you call it? Socionics, yeah. A lot of Jungian theory. I was more so into, yeah, like neo-Jungian, work before I got into socionics fully. So those have been my hobbies for like the last few years. Also, I'm a big anime fan. Watched a few hundred, and I like to analyze them and sort of have discussions about like the deeper themes or meanings behind them. And I'm also into film or like cinema, so probably more so than anime or like they're like equal. Can't really place place someone in hierarchy. But yeah, film. I enjoy the aesthetic of it, ability to like create structured narratives and like tell stories and present themes through like abstract situations or absurd situations. That's what I enjoy about the film, at least. And somewhat, I guess I'm more so drawn to just like abstract fields. So like even like sociology is somewhat abstract. Yeah, anime and film, things of this nature. So those are mostly like my hobbies. There's a little bit of writing and drawing also, but that kind of like is also like incorporated with like anime slash manga. It's like I used to read a lot of I used to read a lot of manga, and so at one point I wanted to be a mangaka. So I had an interest in drawing, but yeah, I can't really say what draws me to those hobbies necessarily outside of just their like unique presentation and structures. But yeah.
All right. Do you have any significant other, or have you had one? If so, compare yourself with them. How are you different?
No. Currently, I'm not necessarily in a relationship with anyone. For some reason, there's like friendships, probably. Um, and I necessarily haven't been in a relationship before. Let's see. Like, I did date someone maybe 2 years ago. She wouldn't necessarily consider it a dating, or just like hanging out or like casual dating. I don't know. So, how you would classify it, whatever. But yeah, we went out for a few dates, and oddly enough, we weren't that dissimilar. Mostly, like we the interest she like established, like she reached out to me, like I said before, like most people reach out to me. She reached out to me and like just talked about already established common interest in like personality theory and like music and anime, I guess. And, like these were like we had common interests, so she wasn't that dissimilar from me necessarily. She thought she didn't have like we both had like a cursory understanding of personality theory at that time, and I think she thought she was the same type as me, but now I necessarily don't think so. Just like a slight modification on the type or like a slight inversion. But yeah, we were somewhat identical, but you can almost say we were quasi identical. Yeah, right. So, but not necessarily identical. And then more so that I think that relationship fell apart because we both had troubles with establishing like relational distance in a way, or like like I don't know if she had as much trouble as me, but the relationship ended because of like miscommunication. Is how I would label it. So yeah,
I see.
and just yeah.
In general, in choosing romantic partners, what's a deal breaker for you, but not for most other people?
Um, I don't think I necessarily have anything that's a real deal breaker. I don't really put a lot of limitations or labels on things like that. Like like for me, like something like love or like relations, like intimacy. Uh, it's like something that how do you say? It's very like intrinsic. Like you can't really speak on it in a objective way. Or let me see. Sorry, like I think I got lost. Like, what was the question
Um,
again? Sorry.
it's all right. In choosing romantic partners, what's a deal breaker for you, but not for most other people? That was the question.
Yeah, so like it's just hard for me. I don't necessarily have like objective criterion that I like look for or seek out in a partner. I think more so. It comes naturally through, or it establishes itself naturally over time. And I think if you are actually if you care about someone or into someone, even the flaws that you would the flaws in a person you would usually see as red flags and things that you would avoid. You sort of gloss over those and yeah, things of this nature. So I can't think of any real deal breakers besides maybe. But like yeah, none of the deal breakers I can think of would really be like that different from the norm. Just like not being like I don't know like racist or sexist or things of this
Yeah.
nature. Uh, yeah. Other than that, I can't. I wouldn't want to put limitations on who they are as a person necessarily. As long as yeah, because I don't really have like a lot of established beliefs that one can like tread on or things of this nature. It's like oh, I'm upset that you did this because I don't really have too many of those. But yeah, if that's the answer to the question.
Okay. How easy is it for you to feel relaxed? What do you do to relax?
I think when I'm not around people, it's very easy for me to relax. Most of my time is spent in a very relaxed state. Right? Like before I got in this call, I was just mostly relaxing. I was playing some games or reading, watching videos, chatting on Discord. So no, most of the time I feel like I'm in a pretty even keel state until uh, external sensory comes in or something, or it's like yeah. So like as far as relaxation goes, I probably relax too much, if anything. I think I'm always in a state of relaxed, work, like I'm always casually doing something. Yeah. Yeah. But for the
Okay.
most part, it's pretty easy.
What do you think that you're best at? When you receive compliments or praise, what are they usually about?
Uh, Sometimes like, I don't necessarily, especially if someone annoying. Obviously, because like identifying your strengths, like I probably can, I know my strengths and I can probably speak on them, but then I don't want to necessarily come across as like arrogant or something.
Yeah, don't worry
Uh,
about that. Everyone in the past has ended up listing their strengths. You won't be judged for it.
yeah, it's so sure. The things I get complimented on, so I guess being somewhat knowledgeable about different areas and fields, like especially like when it comes to like media or like anime and film. Like if someone wants to talk about film or anime, like I'm very knowledgeable. I'll probably give them some insight or some recommendations for things they might enjoy based on what things that they've told me that they previously enjoyed, or things that they seem to like supposedly. What else? I think actually for some ways people they see me as being a little bit of a warm person, I guess, or like someone that they can come to and talk to for the most part. I don't think I'm an expert like comforter or navigator, but I am someone like if you come to me, I'll just listen. I won't necessarily judge you too much for what you have to say, but and I'll offer my opinion. And most people seem to appreciate the thoughts that I might give at that time. What else? I personally I think I have like a pretty good skill at like analyzing things or finding the meaning within things or spotting contradictions within systems and things of this nature. Like very critical of things. And that's kind of what I was known for before I got into socioeconomics. Or like in these other Jungian communities was kind of being someone who's very critical of these systems and the way they were applied. So I think I'm pretty decent at spotting these contradictions, just spotting like some like impractical methodologies or ways of doing things that seem to be incorrect or not necessarily leading to the outcome that is desired. But other than that, yeah, strengths. I'm also a decent artist. I mean, if that matters, I can sketch pretty well, like I've said. Uh, yeah. Uh, that's about it, yeah.
Okay. Does your sense of morality ever deviate from what is normally accepted as moral? If so, how?
Hmm. Um, I guess necessarily, yeah. I don't necessarily have morals. Uh, I have recently got into meta ethics. Like it's like one of my interests or hobbies too. I guess was philosophy. But just because I started in a few servers oriented around philosophy, and I came across some meta ethical issues because for a long time I didn't believe in moral absolutes or moral objectivity. I thought that people were more so speaking on emotivism or feelings of disgust and disinterest or disapproval when speaking on moral oughts and shoulds. And so I was trying to look for a logical explanation or a logical, like, like adding some kind of logic ontologically to one's moral beliefs. And I necessarily couldn't do that, so I don't really operate on a moral system. I do have a few principles that and these principles aren't really just a few principles, yeah, that I adhere to. Uh, for the most part, I try to act in a way that is what I would call for the best interest of people or like the general welfare of people. Like it's kind of where my ethics go, like almost like consequentialism or some kind of utilitarian
Yeah.
morality. But yeah, as far as like, I think I participate in some edgy conversations and I'm in some pretty edgy servers, but I don't really think that I myself am that edgy. I just don't see a reason to necessarily limit my perspective to just that which with I agree with, uh, morally or what I think is right or wrong. Like because other people might think something is right, and they might necessarily have uh, uh, like reasonable reasons. That seems like a weird thing to say, but yeah, they might have reasonable reasons to believe what they believe. And so I would rather investigate that than make an immediate determination as to why it is morally incorrect, Yeah. So in some ways, yeah, my morality deviates from the norm. I wouldn't consider myself to be the average, like morally the average, like 20-year-old thought.
Okay. How strong are your emotions? When your mood changes, is it for an observable reason or is it seemingly random?
I would say it's usually for an observable reason, and it can be quite strong when it happens. Uh, and it doesn't happen often, but yeah, it's mostly like a buildup over time. I don't really get into many confrontations or get too emotional in my day to day life because I limit my interaction with people so as not to really involve myself with negative interactions. Most of my negative interactions probably happen on Discord as opposed to in reality uh, or in real life. But yeah, what else? Um, yeah. So, sorry, what was the question again?
Um,
Sorry.
how strong are your emotions? When your mood changes, is it for an observable reason or is it seemingly random? If you have anything else to add to that.
Okay. Yeah. 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 For the most part, usually my mood swings extend from external stimuli. I mean stimuli. But yeah, and it's mostly because for the most part, like I said, I'm in an even keeled state and I'm like pretty much flowing along through life. And so like it's more so like when people bring problems and issues to me and present them to me as though they are actually like something that is urgent and like detrimental to like everything that's been established, and it's more so I become a little bit perturbed by that and it's annoying. But other than that, it's pretty chill most of the time. I try to be. But yeah.
Okay. The whole world has united under a single world government. It is ruled autocratically. That ruler is you. What's your plan?
um like again I say like in establishing like a way for like to how do you say when it comes to like I said when it comes to my ethics like with consequentialism or utilitarianism I look for a promoting what is best for the people. And so I guess in a sense, of controlling the whole world, and I have to think in the best interests of everyone in the world. So basically, just establishing a lot of basic liberal principles, right? Some pretty basic liberal principles regarding safety and freedom and inalienable rights, but also it would be somewhat more strict and authoritarian in the sense that it is somewhat like these are like the rules that are agreed upon within society, or that we have deemed to be most appropriate for building a stable society. And when people infringe on those laws, how do you say, act against the best interest of the people, then obviously like certain action has to be like taken. But for the most part, I think for the most part I'd be pretty laissez-faire for the most part, and just establish some sort of I wouldn't necessarily know what kind of government I would establish, what is the most objective government. In some ways, I used to support, like when I took political science, I supported somewhat of a philosopher king, like some kind of Aristotelian like kind of government. But I don't know if I necessarily see that as practical at this point. But yeah, it would probably be built up of people who are experts in certain fields and trying to objectively move forward in a way that benefits our society. Would be mostly what I would do as a leader. Yeah.
Okay, that works. Do you often keep things clean, and is this important to you? How strictly do you organize your possessions and living space, and is this important to you?
It's like somewhere in the middle at this point. Most of my life I was very disinterested in keeping my physical surroundings in a state of order, like, or keeping it organized to the like outside observer, somebody who wasn't me. In my opinion, a lot of times the way I had it set up was very comfortable and familiar for myself. So it was like I understood where everything was, and it was in a certain way, and I like the setup because it allowed for me to be in the same position that were the most comfortable for me to do what I wanted. But for the most part, yeah, I kind of throw my clothes around. I don't necessarily keep my room that clean, but there's a certain level of organization to it where things go in certain areas, like my bookshelf and like my closet. And every once in a while, I look around in my room and I think this looks like chaotic. This is very chaotic, and I'll clean it up. But yeah, it's not something that I focus on super hard, but it is something that I pay attention to, and it can become distracting if it gets to a level of like unkemptness that is just absurd, and then I usually clean it up. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. One moment.
Oh, I don't know if that makes it better. No, not necessarily.
Sorry, just looking at something quickly.
There we go. That's just better. Nice. All right. Excuse me.
Okay, here. Okay, sorry about that. Have you ever led people? If so, how many and what was the situation?
You said, have I ever led anyone? Oops, hold up. Sorry. Okay, sorry. You said, have I ever led anyone?
Yeah, if so, how many and what was the situation?
Yeah, I was just making sure you can hear me. Um, no, I've never been put in a position as a manager or being put in a position as a leader. Uh, I do sometimes I'll extend my knowledge to people and come up to them if I see them doing something incorrect or struggling with like doing something or come in and correct them or show them the proper way or give them some advice. But for the most part, I'm quite like passive or quite like under the radar. So for the most part, I don't really get picked for positions of power because I don't really assert myself in such a way. So yeah.
Okay. I only need to ask a few more questions, I think.
Yeah.
How do you. No, you've already answered that basically. Are you quick tempered? If so, in what cases?
So I can hear that. What was it? Am I quick to what?
Are you quick tempered? If so, in what
Oh,
cases?
sorry. Um, I can be. To me, necessarily, I don't think I'm necessarily quick tempered in the sense that I blow up quickly. But over a period, like I've said before, yeah, over a period of time, there can be a build up and then that kind of explosion or that kind of like outburst, or when I finally do assert myself or put some kind of force behind my words. It's usually after a period of time of like constant like nagging or people forcing their beliefs and thoughts on me, and usually I won't say anything. But then after a while, I'll say something, and then they usually don't like the way I react. That's just because then it becomes quite easy for me to just point out a lot of the stupid things that they're saying and how what they're saying doesn't necessarily make sense. It would have been better for them not to talk to me in the first place. Uh, um, pretty quick tempered. Yeah, but usually I'm pretty quick tempered. I say it takes a little bit for me to get upset. Yeah, and I try to be.
Okay.
And when I get upset, I try to control that. Unless the other person is just also going full Hail Mary. That's like it's either you run away or I don't know.
Yeah. All right. What do you think of conspiracy theories? Which do you believe in, if any, and why?
Uh, I've heard a few conspiracy theories. Some of them are plausible. Uh, I guess like Bob Lazar talking about Area 51 and it's kind of anti-gravitational, uh, unidentified flying object, whatever. That was interesting. For the most part, I don't dabble in conspiracy theories because I would rather have a lot more evidence backing up what they're claiming. And if there isn't enough evidence to back up what they're claiming, a lot of it is just like loose logical associations or logical leaps of like, oh, this happens. So I think we can assume that this must be the case without proper evidence. I usually dismiss them and see them as idiotic. Uh, there are some things I do think are there are some underlying mechanisms controlling society. But I think we all understand that and understand that we can't necessarily trust governmental bodies, and we necessarily can't trust the things that they say or their stated intentions because oftentimes their actions are different than their intentions. And so I think we can all agree that there's something that we are not all privy to, but I can't. A lot of these conspiracy theories probably are off base or only getting at
Yeah.
20 to 10% of the truth. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think that makes sense.
All right, now it's getting better. I'm like sweating.
Sorry, 1 second.
That's just better. Oh, it's better or not. Let me have to go over here. And this one.
Okay, one last thing. What were you like as a kid? Did any moments or aspects of your personality at the time stand out to you?
Um, I think I went through a lot of shifts and changes as a child, or not a lot, but I can notice some kind of different moments or different external behaviors in my life, and it was quite odd because they're like quite dissimilar from each other. But let me see, because like when I was quite like really young, like in third, fourth grade, I was quite like I was very quiet and demure, and like I wouldn't, just very shy. I mean, I've always been quite shy, I guess, for the most part. So I wasn't very talkative, and I used to like somewhat get bullied as a child, and then what do you call it? Uh, I wouldn't usually react to those like being bullied or like aggressed upon or beaten up. And so then like one day my mom, uh, she was like, "You can't just let people, I don't know, walk all over you or something. You can't like make fun of you and just not do anything." So then at that time, I think I changed a little bit. I wasn't too super aggressive, but I didn't necessarily stand by and let people make fun of me as much. And then eventually it just stopped happening, or I don't recall. Then there was times where I was seen as like somewhat disruptive in class, like talkative, which is odd. Like that's why I say it's odd. Like my character is shifted, but seen as someone who would talk with others in class or not necessarily pay attention to the lesson. I still did quite well in school, but I didn't necessarily I didn't feel the need to necessarily pay too much attention earlier in school. And then as I got older, by like high school, I was back to being quite more like shy and demure, and I had more so an interest in education and academia, and what do you call it? Didn't really have any issues, but yeah, and for the most part, since then has been relatively stable. Like my behavior hasn't shifted too much. Just some of my interests have shifted. Like I guess like typology and socionics, these type of things are new interests. But like anime and film and reading and philosophy is always like math. Like these things have always been part of my like everyday life. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
So I have gotten to the point where, according to the program I have, and according to my intuitions as well, there is about a 98.6% chance that you're NIT, and secondarily, about a 1% chance that you're TIM. I think we can pretty safely say that you're NIT.
Yeah, that's fun. I thought that might be the conclusion from this typing, but I wasn't sure. If you like, even though I don't necessarily. Yeah, that's interesting. I thought that would be the conclusion.
Yeah, I think that you're also probably, although I'm not nearly as sure about this. You're probably filtering or stabilizing subtype, but that would be something that you can more easily find out for yourself through the resources that I have right now.
Yeah, I was thinking that probably was like a beta filtering type in the subtype system, but I don't know.
Is there any reason for that?
I forgot what it was. It was something about like the description. It was like idealism or something, and like retreating into their own world to like avoid like outside things, and like some of like the like retreat like escapism aspects kind of I thought made sense. Other than that, yeah, I would have to look at it more closely. I thought the
I can
filtering
definitely
type
see
made,
that.
but yeah, I thought that
Okay.
made sense. Yeah, cool. And then I guess yeah, I don't know if I have any questions. Mm, necessarily.
All right.
Uh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Did you have something you were gonna say?
Sorry, what did you say?
Oh no, I said, did you have something you were going to say?
Oh no. If you don't have any
Okay.
questions, then
Yeah. I was thinking if I had any. I don't want to hold you up too long, but mm, no, I guess that's it. That's pretty much it. Thank you for the session.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
You can always message me if you end up realizing you forgot something, or if you have anything you'd like to ask.
All right. Perfect. Thank you. Enjoy your day, sir. I mean,
Yes.
yeah, sorry, another, but thank you, yeah. For that.